Hi, my dear followers! This will be a special episode in the life of this vlog, the first to be recorded in English. The reason for this is today's special interviewee. Today we will talk to Anna, who came to Hungary from the US, and with whom we will speak quite honestly about her chosen vocation, which is none other than missionary. Come on, let's start. So, Anna, nice to meet you.
Nice to see you as well.
Thank you very much for undertaking this interview with me. Do I know as well your full name is Anna Marie Kirby?
Anna Marie Kirby, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A few words from you personally. Do I know well that your first graduating is the psychology, which you will pass the Saturday University? Why do you choose on this faculty?
I chose psychology because I am interested in people and why they do what they do and how I can help them. Originally, I thought I might become a counselor, and that is not what ended up happening, but psychology is a good preparation for that, so that is why I chose it to begin with.
Do you know there is a joke about psychologists? Do you want to talk about it? Because we think usually this is the first question. After that you chosen the occupational therapy on the Boston University. Could you describe what is, please? I think in Hungary university system we have just the same named faculty, but they are not covering each other's.
Yeah, so in the United States, when occupational therapy first started, we used the word occupation to mean anything you do that occupies your time. So now it really mostly means a job, but back then it could be eating or sleeping or doing a hobby or going to work. And so the idea is that an occupational therapist helps people who maybe because of a disability or an injury or a disease or for whatever reason are unable to do those things they need or want to do, unable to do their occupations. And I can work with them to help them be able to do those things, whether it's by improving their skills or changing the task, giving them a tool or something to help them so that they're able to do the things they need and want to do.
So it is a very wide faculty. Do you have the opportunity to specialize in this faculty?
When you finish your occupational therapy degree, you take a test and then you're qualified to work with anyone from birth to old age, but most people do specialize within that. For example, I was mostly working in pediatrics, mostly working with children, and even more specifically, I mostly worked with children who had disabilities such as autism or Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, or other things like that.
Why and how do you choose on this faculty?
The psychology and occupational therapy. Well, as I mentioned, I was interested in counseling and, just working with people and understanding people better. And then I had planned to go to graduate school and study counseling, but I started working one summer with children with autism and I really enjoyed it. So I decided to wait a little while before I went to graduate school, and I did some more work with children and adults who had disabilities. I worked in a residential facility, so a place where they could live.
Was it in the US?
Yes, it was in the US. And I did not really like my job that I was doing, but I really liked working with those people. And while I was doing that, I met an occupational therapist who was working with them. And so I thought, oh, that is what I wanted to do. So I ended up going to Boston University and getting my occupational therapy degree.
You first met Hungary, before or after this interesting meeting?
Before, actually, I came to Hungary for the first time in 1997 when I was 12 years old. I was only here for about a week. I came to visit with my parents, but my parents were considering moving to Hungary at the time as missionaries. And so they moved here to Hungary in 2002. I was just about to turn 18 years old, and so I came with them for 1 year before I started university and lived here in Hungary.
So your parents was with you in the US until you finished your universities?
We all lived in the US, but they were thinking about moving to Hungary. And so we came for a visit to check it out and see if we thought it would be a good place for us to live.
When you finished the high school, after that, are they moved?
That's when they moved. When I finished high school, they moved a month after I graduated from high school. So then I came with them.
Nice.
Why do you choose Hungary for your missionary and your second home?
I loved living here with them for that year when they first moved here, and I had been back and forth to visit many times, even after I was living in the United States again. And I really enjoyed being here and enjoyed the country and the culture. But when I had been working for many years and living in the US, my dad died very suddenly. And at that time, I came back to stay with my mom for a few months just to kind of help her in that transition. And while I was here, it kind of reminded me how much I love Hungary and loved being here. And so I decided I wanted to come back and live here myself as well.
Was your parents the first missionaries in your life who you met for?
The church that I went to when I was a child in the United States had a lot of missionaries all of the time. There were missionaries coming and speaking to us in church or in Sunday school with the children, and we would have them over to our house for dinner. And so I got to meet lots of missionaries all throughout my childhood. And that's really what encouraged my parents to become missionaries. They met lots of missionaries and really were excited about the idea of committing their lives to serving God like those other missionaries had done. And we actually met a couple of missionary families who were getting ready to move to Hungary, and that's what first gave my parents the idea of moving to Hungary as well.
Do you remember when and why do you decide to become a missionary?
Why I decided? It was a pretty long experience, but I was always kind of interested in the idea, and I knew that I wanted to serve God, but I wasn't sure exactly what that would look like. And when I lived here for a year, and then I was ready to go to university, in my mind at the time I thought, oh well, and of course, when I'm finished with university, I will become a missionary. That's what I want to do for sure. But over the years, many things happened, and when I first finished college, my mom got sick with cancer and came to the US for a year, and so I wanted to be near her. And then I was saving money to go to graduate school, and then I went to graduate school, and then when I finished, I had a lot of student loans that I needed to pay off, and for many reasons, it seemed like God kept telling me to wait, that it wasn't time yet. But as I mentioned, when my dad died, I came here to Hungary for 3 months, and I really loved being here, and a lot of that time I spent with my mom and helping her, but some of the time when she was at school where she works, I was also helping teach English and doing some other ministries here with the church, and I just loved it. It made me I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, what God created me to do. But I also felt a little bit like my my dad just died and I'm grieving, I'm very sad, this is a hard time, and so it's not a good time to make a big decision. And probably I will go back to Ohio, to my church in Ohio that I love, and my job that I love, and my house, and all of yes, that I loved. And I thought, I won't feel this way anymore. I will go back to Ohio and get back to normal, and these ideas will go away. But they didn't. I kept missing being in Hungary and feeling like what I was doing in Ohio wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And so I was praying about it and asking God to give me wisdom, and after a few months I started asking some other people, what do you think? I think maybe I want to go back to Hungary, but I don't know. And I thought they would all say, oh, Anna, that's so nice, but your dad just died and you're emotional, and so
they aren't support you.
Well, I thought that's what they would do. But it's not. I said, I'm thinking of going to Hungary, and they said, of course you should go to Hungary. We have been waiting. What is taking you so long? It is clear that you are supposed to go to Hungary and be a missionary.
Could you tell us, what does it mean to you to be a missionary?
So, a lot of people might define it different ways, but for me, it means that my full-time job is to serve God and to try to love people in His name. And usually that means going to a different place, a different country, or a different city than where you usually live in order to do that.
Could you tell us how this looks like one of your days?
So every day is very different for me. I consider that my main job is to help Hungarian churches, help strengthen them and help grow new Hungarian churches, strengthen old ones and grow new ones. So I work with quite a few churches in Hungary.
What does it mean to have the churches ground? Maybe build up a new too?
Yeah, so there are some new churches that didn't exist before that I get to help with, that there is maybe a Hungarian pastor or some Hungarian families are starting a new church. For example, there is one in Budapest that I have been helping with. And
how did you help them?
So I do lots of different things. For example, you know that I teach English.
Yeah. Yes, this is our secret too. This is how we met a few years ago when I started to visit the English courses in the Érbakvár Baptist Church.
So I help by teaching English as a ministry of this church and of other churches. I help lead Bible studies for people who are interested in learning more about God and the Bible. I help with...
How do they find you?
Often they find out because of the English classes. So in the English classes, you know, we don't really teach the Bible necessarily.
Absolutely not.
But you know that we are missionaries and that we're a part of the church. And so if people are curious and want to know more, often they will ask us like, oh, you know about the Bible, can you help me learn more about it? And so I'm very happy to do that when those opportunities come up.
If I know as well, you're organizing a lot of Friday blends too.
It was started by another missionary who used to live here for many years. She was having it in her home, and it was kind of a similar idea to how the Bible studies go, that she was meeting women that she was teaching English to, or maybe they were her neighbors, or however she would meet them. And so she would invite them to her home, and they could practice their English, but also they had a meal together. We usually did a craft, and then she or someone else would share a lesson from the Bible. And that's still what we do, but she has moved back to the States, and so now there are others of us who are still running it. But we invite our English students who want to come, or
Just the
our
ladies.
neighbors, but unfortunately it is just for the ladies. There used to be an opportunity for the men, and they were not coming, so that was stopped. But I bet if you wanted to start it again, you could talk to someone.
Thank you.
But yeah, so there are so many people, we can't have it in our home anymore, but we meet in our offices, and we have a meal together, and we usually do a craft or some other activity together, and someone shares from the Bible. And so people who are interested in learning more about the Bible, or learning crafts, or practicing their English, or whatever. I'm not sure why all of them want to come. I think they all have different reasons why they like to attend. But
Okay, if you don't mind, we are going a bit back. Could you tell us, how could you build up a new church from the beginnings?
yeah, so we want people to have the opportunity to learn about God, and whether that means in this church or in a different church. There are many church buildings in Hungary, but there are not a lot of people who go to those churches. And so we think it's useful to have more churches that are being planted. So it would be wonderful if, for example, this room was so full on a Sunday morning that we needed to send some people to the next town, to Tarnów or somewhere else, and start a new church there. I don't know if that will happen, but we would love to see just more and more churches so that more people have an opportunity to hear the good news about Jesus. Does that answer your question?
After your time around the churches, have you got any time to do some more official activities?
Like what other activities am I doing? I also work with children who have disabilities here in Hungary, kind of like what I did in the United States. That is something that I am starting to do more and more. I can teach English even as I'm just beginning to learn Hungarian, but in order to work with children with disabilities, I needed to know a lot more Hungarian. So I still have a lot to learn, but I'm getting to the point where I can work with children. And so I'm really excited about those opportunities too. I can use some of my occupational therapy skills and hopefully help some children and their families to be able to just live fuller lives here in Hungary. And I'm also very interested in helping churches to be able to welcome children and families who have disabilities. If a child who has autism or a child who has cerebral palsy comes to the church, sometimes it's hard to know how to help them or what is the best way to care for them and show them love. And so it's important to me that churches are prepared to do that, are prepared to show Jesus' love to all different kinds of kids.
I may know as well, you're working with the Mora School in there too?
Yeah, so there's a really amazing group of moms here in Air who have children with disabilities, and they have worked with the Mora School to create kind of a special class for their children. There are several other therapists or pedagogues who work with them, and I work together with them as a volunteer. Partly just playing with the kids and being an extra set of hands, an extra helper, but I get to do some therapy things as well.
Why did you choose an ear when you started your missionary in Hungary?
It's kind of I think many years ago when our organization first started here, they found a house that would become our office here in Erd, and there is a school that our organization helped to start that is in Diósd, and so this was just kind of the location that was convenient for people to settle in. So I could have chosen to go somewhere else, but I wanted to be close to my teammates, to my colleagues, and also to my mom. My mom lives in Diósd, so this is what made the most sense.
What is the thing which you most enjoy your missionary?
I really love that my whole job is about building relationships. So I get to spend time with people and care about them and show them God's love and my love, hopefully in lots of different ways. So it's not about, I don't have to really worry about, am I making lots of money, or am I achieving all of these goals. My whole life and job revolves around people, and I really enjoy that.
Thank you so much for the interview. I hope we could change the pictures of the missionaries are became from the deep Middle Ages for the people's head. For example, when America was explored, or when some missionaries went down into Africa, taking not so small risks to preach the word. So, thank you so much, Anna.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Sziasztok!
Sziasztok!